It's Wednesday night.
The New York Theater Barn
is live!
I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Baby, is this love? I see color for the first time. Finally, I can feel the sunshine. My heart's singing for the first time. Is this love?
Good evening, and welcome to New York Theater Barn's New Work Series Live. I am not Joe Barros. My name is Blair Russell. I'm a Tony-nominated producer, and I'm also the co-board president of New York Theater Barn.
Yay, Blair. And I'm Jen Sandler, and I am the Associate Artistic Director here at New York Theater Barn. And I'm so happy to have you as my co-host tonight, Blair.
Thank you.
So tonight, as you know, we are excited to present excerpts from the new musicals In Emily's Words and Fly More Than You Fall.
In Emily's Words, written by Jesse Tomsko, is the fascinating true story of English novelist Emily Bronte, as she writes her magnum opus, Wuthering Heights. And Eric Holmes and Nat Zegree's Fly More Than You Fall is a coming-of-age story about a writer who learns that part of living is losing.
Yes. So welcome to the 47th and final, I can't believe I'm saying that, final installment of our award-winning virtual new work series. And as always, this episode is being simulcast to Broadway On Demand, and we are thankful and grateful for our friends at Broadway On Demand, and we cannot wait for more partnerships. So as you know, tonight is a bittersweet night for our entire team, both on stage right here and off stage, and one of sincere triumph. When we pivoted our musical development online last March, we just, like so many, never expected this pandemic would last as long as it did.
And through our dedication and relentless power, we have connected thousands of artists and audiences from all over the world. Our live virtual programming was recognized by NAMP with their Innovation and Exploration Fund. And 75% of the works supported by New York Theater Barn over the past 14 months have been written by artists from BIPOC and marginalized communities.
Yes, we never get tired of those numbers and those facts and everything.
Always going up.
Always going up. Our new work series gives writers space to speak in community about their original works and an opportunity to showcase material in development to a global audience, something we could not say before this pandemic. I will forever be proud of the work that we've done during this time, and it's something I will be talking about for a while because it matters.
And I personally, but all of us at New York Theater Barn would like to thank you for watching and supporting us over the past 16 months. And we can't wait to share with you what's next.
Yes, and as we said during our last installment, Joe could not be here tonight live with us as he's working with the Southeastern Summer Theater Institute on Hilton Head Island in South Carolina, which I'm jealous of because that sounds really beautiful. We miss him. We love you, Joe. It is only fitting that now here to tell us more about how you can support New York Theater Barn is our fearless leader, Mr. Joe Barros.
Hi, I'm Joe Barros, and I am the proud artistic director of New York Theater Barn. During the pandemic and a global systemic reckoning, our incredible staff and board of directors continue to support artists and original culture-shifting musicals during incubation. Our virtual programming has reached an audience of over 26,000 viewers through our YouTube channel and Broadway On Demand. We've had the privilege of showcasing the development of 96 original musicals created by 181 writers while making space for over 600 artists, all of whom represent BIPOC and underrepresented communities. As a small but persevering company, we make a lot happen with very little. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your gift tonight is tax deductible. For the final installment of our award-winning virtual New Work series, we are thrilled to present tonight's original musicals, Fly More Than You Fall and In Emily's Words, written by Eric Holmes, Nat Zegree, and Jesse Tomsko. Tonight's stories follow female-identifying protagonists who are driven by literature and the transcendent power of their imaginations. Thank you for supporting live theater and enjoy the show.
I feel like it really feels real seeing all those shows flashing as he was talking.
I was emotional, the artwork.
Thank you, Joe. There would be no New York Theater Barn without you, and having you as my co-pilot on this crazy virtual journey couldn't have been any better. So thank you.
And we wanted to share that making a gift tonight is easy and fun. You can quickly donate by text at any point during the presentation, or even when it's over, or just like whenever you want.
It's true. The number to give is 631-710-NYTB. That is 631-710-6982. And if I don't say this, it's the last broadcast. It's American Idol style. You can vote for Ruben, Clay, Kelly, whoever you want. We love saying that. And it's the last time I can say that. So
we really appreciate any donations that you make. And our recent New Work series featured the new musicals Goodbye New York and Otherworld. Here's a clip from our presentation of Andrew Beale, David Don Miller, and Evan McCormick's Goodbye New York. Take a look.
How do you know when you know that there's no mistaking? What comes next? What's waiting behind that door?
Andrew had this article from the Washington Post about a woman who left her beloved home in California to go protect her right to die with physician's aid in Oregon. And I just thought it was such an interesting rock and a hard place for character and storytelling that I was all in from that first meeting with Andrew. And before I know, we were writing together, bringing Evan in as lyricist because I'm strictly a dialogue guy.
You as a lyricist for this, it was really easy to just say, yeah, this would be great. This would be wonderful to try.
I had an idea for a one-day, show where a couple is just running around the city having this fun day, and then at the very end of the show, second act, we sort of switched genres from fun and funny into the drama.
And these two come together after 10 years of being apart, and this kind of second chance at love they take full advantage of. So at the moment where they're really no longer able to deny admitting their attraction for one another, they burst into this song. I think that's
platonic tea between two friends who found each other after so many moments. We're here together to taste the moment forever. Here together.
And when he learns the truth, it's an anvil dropping on him. She's leaving and never coming back. And he pleads with her to reconsider. And soon they're arguing, and then they're fighting. And at the emotional peak of that fight, she withdraws from him completely and contemplates the choice that she's making.
How could he know? How could they know? How do I feel? It's my
I love this show so much. And if you didn't watch 2 weeks ago and you're just finding out about this show, they have a Kickstarter right now to fund their cast album. I just looked during this recap and they're $6,000 away from hitting their goal. So if you head to the description from our last broadcast, you can donate to them. So get on that. And now here's a clip from Hunter Bell, Jeff Bowen, and Anne McNamee's Otherworld. Take a look.
You are now here, but you are not alone. There are others out there, like you, who are also here in this world. Find them. Join together. Your journey begins now.
Otherworld, an original musical by Anne McNamee, Jeff Bowen, and Tony nominee Hunter Bell, tells the story of avid online gamer Shri and non-gamer Lorraine, who are unexpectedly transported into Shri's favorite game, Otherworld.
So I asked my mentor, Maury Yeston, if he could just send me some names, please, please, please. And he sent me a list, and at the very top of the list was Hunter Bell.
I met Anne, and I loved her, and I said, want to do something new? And so we began to kind of ideate, and we landed on this gaming world, the world of gaming. And it's kind of a world I haven't seen in a big Broadway stage space, and I think it's so right for creation, imagination, and connecting audiences.
A video game I was playing online at the time was a video game, an MMO called City of Heroes, which is a game where you create your own superhero basically, and you run around a giant, city. And it was an amazing expression of creativity because you create your avatar, and it starts this whole world of communication where you have this whole online, communication. Out of nowhere, the company that ran the game decided to shut it down, and it came out of the blue. It was quite emotionally devastating to have this thing that you spend a lot of time, and again, like the connections you make. And
kind of watching Jeff in the chat inspire not just the loss of the game, but the exploration of how community is built and how passionate, creative, like-minded folks. I think a lot of folks have ideas about what a gamer is.
He kind of is coming to the realization that this thing he created, this avatar, all of these characters that have been created by all of these players, doesn't go away. And sort of it was us as the writers kind of professing this meta aspect that any art you create lives on forever.
See the glory in all its disguise, each with its own wonderful storyline. Look around you and see what's begun by the King in everyone. If we could, we would stay for good in this beautiful neighborhood of make-believe. That's why we play. That's why we play. Less alone today, more alive today. That's why we play.
Wow, just two great shows.
What a team. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be emotional about everything tonight now. So let's get started. The first show we're featuring tonight is In Emily's Words, which has a book, music, and lyrics by Jessie Tomsko. In Emily's Words, the new musical about the power of the human imagination, tells the story of English novelist Emily Bronte. She is writing her magnum opus, Wuthering Heights. I'm very proud of myself for saying Wuthering Heights twice and not singing it like Kate Bush. Emily's imagination knew no bounds, and in spite of having seen very little of the world, she was able to craft a sweeping melodrama that has left a legacy nearly 200 years after her death. Emily Bronte fought through adversity and illness, achieving agency in a time when women were denied it. Yet while she paved the way for female writers, Emily never lived to see the success of her own labors. Hers is a story of resilience, strength, and the greatness that can be achieved when the immense power of imagination is unleashed.
As I always say, wow, wow, wow. And now joining us from her home is the writer of In Emily's Words, Jessie Tomsko.
Hi.
Hi, Jessie.
Hello,
Jessie.
everyone.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
So happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Jessie, so as a singer-songwriter, you've shared the stage with many notable artists such as Joan Osborne, Edward McCain, Don Williams, and James McCartney. And as a vocal coach, your work has been seen on Sesame Street and Apple TV's Helpsters. Your other musicals include The Farmer, which is currently in development with Mia Walker, and Boleyn, which we New York Theater Barn is proud to have featured Boleyn in our choreography lab. And Boleyn is your musical about Anne Boleyn, co-written with your father. So maybe let's take a little look at a clip from Boleyn in the lab.
Perfect voice, and you're waiting for someone to tell you to move. Don't make noise, don't make a scene, 'cause the queen has got nothing to prove. Who is the girl in the portrait? I know her somehow, but she's foreign and strange. I could set it on fire just to torch it and stand in the distance and let the flames. Hey, tell her you have my face. Hey, tell her will you take my place?
My God, there's a real live singer in that video. It's like a different era.
I mean, just gorgeous music and choreography. It was so just amazing to watch that.
Programmed by someone you will meet in a few minutes.
Yeah, so,
And
so
that was,
excited for that as well.
That was Rebecca Frazier did that choreography for that, and she was a blast to work with.
Yeah, so I mean, I as a producer, especially producing new musicals, I'm really like music forward. I love to hear a great song. And so I'm often drawn to people who are coming from writing or composing in other areas. Singer-songwriters are one of my favorites. So I'm really interested in what led you to write for the theater and why you chose this layered and complicated true story of Emily Bronte as a musical.
So, yeah, it was super random. I started writing for musical theater just a couple years ago when I started writing Boleyn. And I always tell this story when asked why I started this idea to begin with. And it was because I was simply doing the singer-songwriter thing. I was up very late one night writing and got this random idea that said, what if Anne Boleyn was a singer-songwriter today and wrote a song about being in the Tower of London awaiting her execution? And I was like, what? And I almost laughed it off. But I wrote a song that night that then became the impetus for that show. And after a couple years of working on that, which is still currently in development, just last year, I had the idea. I love writing, right? And I've discovered my great passion in life is hearing great singers sing my stuff, far more than anything I have ever done myself. And so I decided to write another show, which I began last year. So it actually started a year before that. I thought that I wanted to write a Wuthering Heights musical. And I went so far as to write the first song. And when I tried to go further, I just wasn't super excited about it. And I thought, I'm going to just put that on the back burner, come back to it when I have a better idea for just a better angle, a better way in. So fast forward a year to January of last year, pre-pandemic, and I was out walking. I get lots of ideas when I'm out walking or when I'm in the shower. Actually.
Literally same.
I get out of the shower so much with ideas. It's crazy. But anyway, so
You're not alone.
I was out walking and I just thought, light bulb, Emily Bronte needs to be in the story. And it's going to be her perspective telling the story. It's going to come to life in her eyes. And she's going to be becoming more and more immersed in the story as we go. And I'm really fascinated by like the creative process. I love human beings and our desire to make art. And I'm so amazed by like where ideas come from, where does inspiration originate? And so I thought, so for that reason, this show is not an Emily Bronte life story. This is not even a full telling of Wuthering Heights. It's just shining a light on what I am imagining as her creative process.
And that's, that's honestly more a story than Wuthering Heights. And I think that's what the most exciting thing is, that people like that story, but they don't know how it got made.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah. I don't really either. No one will ever know for sure what was happening in Emily's head, but that's the fun of writing.
Exactly. So to talk more about your development path, we're going to bring on someone who is no stranger to the New York Theater Barn family. We have Avital Asaleen, your director here. Hi, Avi. So as many of you know, if you watch our programming regularly, Avi is also the director of our choreography lab, and she put together that piece of Bolin you saw before. So Avi, how did you become a part of this project, and how did New York Theater Barn shepherd your becoming a part of it?
Oh, absolutely. New York Theater Barn played a huge part in me eventually joining this project because I met Jesse through New York Theater Barn. Bolin was brought to Joe's attention, I believe, sometime in, 2018, 2019, somewhere thereabouts. But he said, I have this lovely woman who's writing this lovely show. I think you should listen to it. I think it would be great to put in choreography lab. It seems like it might be interesting to see it dance. And I agreed. And, with choreography lab, we program lots of writers and lots of choreographers. It's certainly not just all about, us working on things or me working on things. But I loved my experience working with Jessie. She is incredibly smart, incredibly passionate, and also incredibly just willing to dive in and do the work. And I think sometimes it's rare to meet people who are, really tops in all of those areas. And so that was something that was just immediately apparent to me working with her as a producer. And when I was looking for something to do over the pandemic, I had seen some whispers on social media that she was working on this new project. And so I reached out to her, and that was about, I guess, we think like March, right?
Something like that, yeah.
We had a conversation earlier. Yeah, we were like, we don't know. Time is so strange.
So take us back a little. Before Avi and the Combustion Collective came on, what was your development path before that led you to Avi?
So I started writing this, as I said, last January, pre-pandemic. And then the pandemic hit very soon after that. And I just decided to go into my writing process as kind of a means of an escape, but also the fact that I felt like so much, as I know many of us felt this way, so much of our control in our lives was taken away over the past year and some months. My agency in my own life was taken away. And as someone who constantly, I have to always be doing something. I have to always feel like I have a purpose. I felt purposeless. And so, I've been in this little corner pretty much for the bulk of the pandemic, writing this piece. And just because I could feel like I could get some of that control, some of that agency in my own life back in my imagination and in my writing. And I started to just kind of write on the DL, and I didn't talk about it to anybody because I thought this is a side project. We're still doing Bolin. And the more I worked on it, I just fell in love with it and everything I learned about Emily and the Brontes, which I already was quite familiar with the Brontes' work. And I'd read Wuthering Heights years ago and loved it. I've read it several times since. And I felt like I was, able to just I was able to reclaim some of what was lost in the pandemic. And I got super excited about this project. And within 6 months, I had the full first draft, which was super. I suddenly had time on my hands to write, which I wasn't constantly running around the city every day like I always was. And so that was the silver lining for me of the pandemic, being a homebound. And that's where I found the inspiration. And I just I did a little informal read last spring, did an informal read last fall. I've been revising it ever since. It did make it into the O'Neill semifinals, which was cool. And it was a finalist for the Imagine workshop at Michigan, which was cool. Didn't get any of them, but for the first time out, I was super excited to just get really great feedback. And this is also the first book I've written as well, because I'm doing the music and lyrics and the book. And so that was really cool to feel like, okay, I guess I'm sort of doing something right, to get some great feedback. And then I just, Avi reached out to me in February or March and said she was excited about the idea. And I was like, really? Who told you? Who knows about this?
Well, she's a lovely woman with a lovely show. Didn't you hear?
It was cool. Yeah, I guess. So anyway, it's very new. This is I said to you earlier, this is a pandemic baby. It's barely, the reason why we don't really have any credentials for it yet is because it's just, there hasn't been an opportunity. This is really the first premiere that we're doing here, which is, we're so excited to share.
We're so honored.
Well,
Avi, before we move on to the songs, you're developing this within your company, the Combustion Collective. What is the Combustion Collective?
So Combustion Collective is a company that I started a couple of years ago after producing a few of my own works and realizing that producing them under a nameless shell company was probably not the best route forward. So Combustion Collective is an interdisciplinary theater company that is very focused on the how of making theater, how we collaborate, and wanting to shepherd projects through development. But it's also a production company. So we, have the aim to produce full productions. My company has produced 2 productions thus far. We made Ephemera, which was an immersive dance theater piece that was set in a bar with an original score. And then we also made Floor Show, which was a play that I co-wrote with my husband, Dan Berg, and we produced that in 2019. And so that was a play with music and dance that sort of wasn't a musical.
I'll say in the chat.
Shout out Dan Berg. Oh, I love that. Oh no, too much Avi praise. Now
Lots. All deserved.
Too funny. You've totally thrown me. But anyway, Combustion Collective is happy to be working on a new musical for the first time. Even though musical theater is really my bread and butter, Combustion Collective has kind of worked on these genre bending projects. And so, we're not sure exactly where, in Emily's words, is going to wind up going, but there might be possibilities for it having some immersive, vibe, or having some actor, musician, music kind of shape to it a little bit down the road that we haven't figured out yet, but it might be something that we may explore.
So your first song tonight has been stuck in my head all week. Can you tell everyone what it is?
So this is, I should also specify that this show does kind of have a show within a show construct, as it is Emily writing the story. So we do get little bits of, we have her life in her reality, and then we have the story. So this first song is called The Bell Brothers. And if you don't know, when the Brontes first published, they took on pseudonyms. So they were women publishing in the 1840s, so they had pen names. Emily was Ellis Bell, Charlotte was Currer Bell, and Anne was Acton Bell. And so this song is them sort of embodying their pseudonyms.
And who will be performing tonight, the song?
So we have the fabulous Deanne Stewart, who is playing Emily Bronte. We have Diana Huey, who is playing Anne Bronte. And we have Rachel Lauren James, who is playing Charlotte Bronte.
And I just want to say, Diana Huey is on our chat right now, and she's like the MVP of this New York series. She's probably been in... she may know more than me. I say 4 or 5 different shows within the last year and a half.
Well, what happened is, I'm a staff member of New York Theater Barn, and so maybe I've missed 1 or 2 of these, but I try to either watch them live or watch them later. And so I just keep watching Diana be fabulous and wonderful.
As soon as you see Diana, you're like, okay, do my next time.
Okay, you're ready.
I was like, well, we probably should try to get Diana Huey because she's amazing in everything she does. And so perhaps she would do this with us as well. And that's how that happened.
There's a fan club for both her and you on the chat right now.
Yes.
So here, without any further ado, here is the Bell Brothers.
The name Ellis Bell, a man the ladies adore. You'll come to know this name quite well, a figure of mystery and lore. One can't be a lady and an author too. A woman must always choose. Call us shady, but we're quite a crew, strutting around in our fictional shoes. Ladies, your chances are slim, so pick a pseudonym.
like brandy and fine cigars.
Yes, he does.
Acting is a name that'll really sell. I like fist fights, late nights, and getting thrown out of bars.
A lady could get lost in a wilderness of prejudice and downright hate.
So try on some trousers instead of a dress,
And the printing press will soon be taking the bait. Ladies, become a he and a him and choose a pseudonym.
Bronte's a name that commands respect. Bronte has a musicality.
The surname of a literary architect.
Not one, not two, but three.
1, 2, 3.
If this world was a better place, ladies, we'd all have our druthers. But in the meantime, make room, make space for none other than the famous Bell brothers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present the Titan of text, Mr. Acton Bell.
And it is my great privilege to introduce the paragon of the paragraph, Mr. Currer Bell.
And now at last I present to you the Emperor of Eloquence, the Pontiff of Poetry, Mr. Ellis Bell.
So if you're a lady in this day and age, find a way to work around the rules.
From our book, do take a page, and the cage comes apart when you've got the right tools.
Ladies, your chances are slim. Ladies, if the world looks grim,
Ladies, go out on a limb and choose a pseudonym.
Yay, ladies!
Yay. What a fun song.
Thank you so much.
That was great. The audience did not see me grooving backstage during the whole thing.
Cool. Thank you so much.
One of the things I really love is just like the vocal arrangements through that song and the other songs in the show. They're just really, really great. They just give you like little chills sometimes.
Thank you so much.
The music is just so spectacular, like throughout the entire piece. It's just got this great, great structure, but then also the layering of all that singer-songwriter stuff and the folk stuff. And I think it really lends itself to the romantic time period. It's just a nice juxtaposition to see this like 19th century romantic story told through this musical language. So I find the whole score thus far very enjoyable, not just these two.
It's almost larger than life. That's how I feel like.
It's fun to hear other people singing because for the last year in the pandemic, I have literally recorded everything myself. And so it's really wonderful to just hear some of their voices. They're so fantastic.
Sometimes we do listen to your demo tracks and I'm like, this is a lot of Jessie layered.
This is a lot. We did our reading last month. I was like, listen, guys, by the end of this, you are going to hate listening to my voice because it's a lot. After 25 songs, it's a lot.
So what is our second song tonight?
So this is further on. That was Act 1. And then Act 2, spoiler alert, if you haven't read Wuthering Heights, Kathy dies. So
I haven't read Wuthering Heights, thanks.
Oh, gosh.
Rather frustratingly, the protagonist dies halfway through, actually. But anyway, so this is Heathcliff's 11 o'clock number, I guess, called Where Can I Find You? And it's after Kathy's death, which she dies in childbirth. And I took a lot of inspiration directly from the book. A lot of this text, I took it and kind of manipulated it to fit directly in the song because I think the way that Emily wrote it is so perfect that I didn't even want to like corrupt it at all. But I mean, of course I had to mess with it to make it fit the structure and the rhythm and everything. But there's so much rich material in the text as it is. So this is Heathcliff's final number.
And the amazing Jonathan Christopher is singing this, who I would literally let sing the phone book to me. And he did another new work series back in February for a great show written by Brian Blasky and Lori Hochman. So we are a fan of his.
Huge fan.
So here is Where Can I Find You?
remember the day I met you. I'd never seen a girl so fair. Never would I forget you. I was blessed to breathe your air. You took my hand and told me that I would have a friend. From that moment you controlled me. I'd be yours until the end. Now how can I live without my life? How can I live with my soul in the grave? I could not cut you from my heart with any knife. It is forever your presence I crave. Where can I find you, Kathy? What part of you can I say? Be with me always, take any form. I beg you to drive me mad. How can I hold you? How can I keep you warm? Sing to you of the love we had. How can I live without my life? How can I live with my soul in the grave? I only wish to call you my wife. If only I had been more brave. Where can I find you, Kathy? What part of you can I say? Do not leave me in this abyss, never to touch, never to kiss. Do not go where I cannot. Kathy, what despair we've wrought. How can I live without my life? How can I live with my soul in the grave? I could not cut from my heart with any knife. How can you feel the love I gave? Where can I find you, Kathy? I make you this vow. Where can I find you, Kathy? No peace will I allow. I'll never rest till I hold you again. Not if I live long as 100 men. Kathy, where can I find you now?
My God. Diana Huey says chills. I agree, Diana Huey.
Jonathan. Thanks,
so
Diana.
Incredible.
Thanks, Paul.
Singing in that song.
So we're going to end with one final question, and I feel like I always end up asking this when a show is about a real person. You know, the story of Emily is one of pain, it's one of triumph. How do you think she would feel knowing that you adapted some of her life into a true, or we don't know true, musical?
I love this question, and I've thought about it, and I feel as though at first she would probably be slightly horrified, just because the Emily that I've come to know, she absolutely never wanted the world to know who she was. And if she were left to her own devices, she would never have even published. We owe it to Charlotte, her sister, that she published. It was Charlotte who went into her room one day and went through her desk when Emily was out and was like, oops, I found these poems. I read them by accident. Emily was furious. And so eventually she came around and, you know, she did publish, but she didn't use her real name. She was Ellis Bell in that publication. And it wasn't until after she died, which was sadly the following year, that it came out that she was a woman. And of course, the world was shocked. Because it was like, how could a woman write this? They called it coarse and depraved and violent, disturbing story. How could a woman conceive of that? Anyway, so
Honestly,
she never.
That doesn't sound too far off from today, sadly.
I know. So anyway, I think she'd come around eventually, but she might be a little bit like, what? at first, but I think once she read it and listened to it, I think she'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
Abby, what do you think?
I was just going to say, you know, I think there's this, you were mentioning sort of the story is coarse and depraved. And I mean, I agree. What I've learned about Emily as well is that she probably wouldn't have been too pleased to see this turned into a musical. But at the same time, I think it's important because we do so much lionizing and deifying of like the male creative auteur. We've been citing examples during this creative process, musicals like Nine, musicals like Sunday in the Park with George, all of these different movies and musicals and stories that really show us men created great works of art. And so I think there is a need for us to see females and female-centered stories that are about this and about females making things, because they have and they do, and it's nice to see and it's nice to talk about.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes, well, luckily she is not around to comment, so continue to develop and make this
I've
wonderful
spoken to
show.
her. I've said, Emily, is it okay if I just take this for a little bit? Great.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens next with the show, and we are so excited to hopefully be a part of it.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you.
We will see you soon, and Avi, we will see you in the next staff meeting.
Yeah.
Have a good night, guys.
Thank
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. So,
Wow.
yes, that was just really, really lovely, those songs. I mean, the power in the voices and the performances and the music. It's so great, so great. And now they've been waiting patiently backstage. It's time to move on to our next show, Fly More Than You Fall.
Yes, Fly More Than You Fall has a book by Eric Holmes, music by Nat Zegree, and lyrics by Holmes and Zegree. Fly More Than You Fall introduces a young girl, Malia, who deals with the tragic news of her mother's diagnosis in the only way she knows how, through her writing. Malia crafts a tale of a young bird with broken wings who embarks on the journey of a lifetime, continually weaving in and out of Malia's real-life struggles to navigate grief, puberty, and growing up in the middle of nowhere. Malia ultimately that's mine.
Okay.
Sorry. Malia ultimately learns that part of living is losing. Script error, I'm sorry. It happens.
Totally okay. We're doing it on the fly. And now joining us from their homes are the writers of Fly More Than You Fall, Eric Holmes and Nat Zegree.
Hi,
And here they are.
everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Welcome, welcome.
Thank
Matt
you so
has
much
been
for
dancing
having
to
us.
all of the music tonight, and
I was gonna say
only
that.
we can see him, and I'm really sad for the audience.
I wasn't gonna call you out, but now we have, so it's true. So welcome both of you. Eric, you're best known for your television career, where you've written shows such as CBS's The Good Fight, CBS's Evil, and every theater person's favorite show, NBC's Smash. Your play Black Friday was nominated for the Otis Guernsey New Voices Playwriting Award, and your farce Nearly Departed won you the David S. Hall Scholarship. And Nat, you've written music and original material for CBS's The Good Fight, a little connection there. And your original album, Fly More Than You Fall, not to be confused, is available on iTunes, and I think we should all go pick it up right after this. You've also performed. You've played Jerry Lee Lewis for over 400 performances in $1 Million Quartet, Mozart, and a live music production of Amadeus. And I've heard this little Easter egg, and you'll have to point this out later, that your voice can be heard on the cast album for Dear Evan Hansen. So together, you've written 3 original musicals, including The King's Critique, not to be confused with The Queen's Gambit, which we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited to learn more about how you came to collaborate and why you chose this original, gripping, familial coming-of-age story of love and loss to write about.
Well, boy, I mean, that's what a great, flattering, beginning. It's just, what a fantastic, I can't remember the last time I've just sat down and, had people remind me of, successes.
I used to, early in the new work series, I told Joe these sound like obituaries, and he's like, no, they don't.
Well, just, it's just great to be, talking to human beings about theater and, actually getting to do something with the show, which is, it's, of course, it's been so long since we've really gotten to have any action with the production and the show. So this is just so exciting. It's really fun.
Right. It's great to
I
be
wore
back at
I
it.
wore the shirt and everything. I'm self-promoting.
Wow.
I've had this shirt. Let me tell you, I've had this shirt for like 4 or 5 years now. No, that's not true because the show hasn't been that long. But it feels like I've had it for like a decade.
2 years.
And I've
You've had it for
never worn
maybe 2 years.
Well, it's you know, you can't wear like a shirt with your own show on it like out in public. It's
You can do that as
I don't know. It
I've
felt
been
a little
with
too
you
pretentious for me.
multiple times in public. We did a
Honestly,
I love that
photo
this is-
shoot in Columbus Circle while you were wearing.
Unless you're,
But that's
like,
only because we had
Sondheim.
just flown back.
Unless you're
Right.
Sondheim and you're wearing like a company shirt, no one's gonna know.
Oh, I see Sondheim wearing a company shirt all the time on the Upper West Side.
The Newark series has just evolved into a fight. I'm really glad that you both were able to come and you were able to finally wear your shirt, and that we get to learn a little bit about the both of you and your collaboration and how you teamed up and wrote Fly More Than You Fall.
Yeah, this is the third show we wrote together. We met many moons ago, maybe 10 years ago. And I was writing a different musical. Matt was still in college and he was in it. And we just kind of became best friends. And then 3 years later, we were, you know, goofing off, talking about stuff. And he had written a few songs for a play I was writing. And then we were like, what if we tried a musical? And then next thing you know, we started writing 2 musicals at the same time. I think that first week we started writing, we wrote 9 songs in a week.
Wow.
And we're just like, oh, we should do this. This is fun. And that's all it really was just 2 idiots sitting around a piano trying to make each other laugh. And yeah, and then we just kind of didn't stop.
And so you've written other shows in the past, and eventually you decided to write this original show, which I always think is a huge task, especially these days where, you know, it's easy to kind of like pick up something, but it could be really challenging. Where did the story of Fly More Than You Fall come from, and what made you
It's funny because
write this
the
together?
song had actually, sorry Blair, didn't mean to cut you off. The song had actually existed for a couple years before the show came into existence. The song was just a song that I had written when I was still at school, like right before I went out to New York. I woke up one day and kind of, it's, you know, the song in itself is kind of what I consider to be my personal mantra in life, you know, a standard that I try to hold myself to every day. And so the song just came out of me naturally like that as just a normal single. And then it wasn't until, and then of course I made the album based off of that song because it means so much to me, the song does, just personally. And then it was a couple years later when Eric kind of thought, you know what, there might be something that we can flesh out from the idea of this song, which is that you can fly more than you fall. I can't believe I'm about to say that, but
It's funny because when Nat moved to New York and moved in with us briefly until he found a place, and he sat at the piano and played me 4 songs he had written by himself, and they were all fantastic. But Fly More Than You Fall was just, I mean, it was out of this world. It was crazy. It was so far. Anytime he had a party, he had to sit down and play it because everyone wanted to hear it. Everyone just loved it. And so from the get-go, that was such a huge part of just our lives, that song. And we were writing these 2 other musicals that were so fun and original and just weird and whatever. And we had always wanted to write a show that dealt with losing parents, because we had both lost parents at a very young age. It's one of the things that has just bonded us as humans for so long. My mom passed away when I was 17, and then Nat lost his dad when he was 21. And so we both went through that, and we always wanted to explore that. But, it's like, how do you do it? How do you do it without making it just, without making the audience want to slit their wrists by the end of the evening? And then we came up with this idea of what if a little girl was going through the process while she was trying to become a writer, and what if she used her writing to help her through it, and we could live in this half fantasy world, which is something I think both of us did to cope when we lost our parents, as we kept trying to escape into theater, into stories, into anything that took us away from it. And yet at the same time, the great thing about art is art helps you process that stuff. So you feel like you're escaping, but you're actually doing something very healthy. and
Right.
you're working your way through it. But more important to both of us, I always felt, was that we needed to let other people know that it's okay when your parents pass. You're not alone, because both of us, I think, we both just felt so isolated and so alone. When my mom died, no one I knew had lost a parent, like no one. And so it was like, oh, I'm this freak, I'm this, black sheep in the group. But it was it was such an amazing thing to then write this story, to process, to combine both of our experiences of what it is to lose someone at a young age, but to also make an audience laugh. And then to watch an audience respond to this, and the group catharsis was like a tidal wave every time we did a version of the show. And we kind of thought, oh yeah, we got to keep going with it. We got to keep writing this. Like,
Well,
something good is happening.
It was kind of that beautiful realization where what started, because when we were writing this show, we kind of realized a little bit through the process that in many ways we were writing it for ourselves, first and foremost. As Eric kind of said, it was an incredibly healing process for us to actually have to dive in and confront a lot of these things. It's still happening. The process is still going on. It never quite leaves, but that's what part of the show is about. And once we realized how powerful it was to us, that's when we had the realization that it could potentially and hopefully be just as powerful and meaningful to the millions and millions and millions of people, particularly young people, who deal with something like this in many different shapes and forms. And so that's it. It just means so much to us.
Yeah, I think we forget how important art is to therapy, art is to healing. Art, and I think we learned this during the pandemic, that art gets us through tough times. Art is important. Artists, are essential workers.
Right.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people find religion when they go through crisis like that. And my religion was always theater. It was always sitting in a theater, waiting for the curtain to go up and have that communal religious experience with people.
I think we can all say that. Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Hallelujah. Amen.
So tell us more about your development path, because the end of your current path got you to us, but there was a lot that happened before that.
Yeah. We prayed to the theater gods every night, and I don't. We started writing this, and it just got a lot of attention right away. We were lucky. We did a workshop at Syracuse University, and then we did a production at Utah Valley University at the Norda Center, which was like a fully staged production, which was incredibly helpful to learn, to learn what you want and what worked, and dear God, what didn't work, and all of that wonderful stuff. But we had a lot of good talent out there that was very helpful to the process. And now
won awards.
It did. We won 9 Broadway World Awards.
Yeah, I think we won all but one of the nominations or categories.
Well, you had to let somebody else have one.
Well, actually, it's because some of the actors were competing against each other.
Oh, that's
so I think,
And some of the awards you won were Best New Musical, Best New Work, lots of great things to carry with you.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And the audiences there really responded to it, which was, that's really all you want. It was lovely to get the awards, but it really, for both of us, we talk about this all the time. It's about the minute the show ends and these people find you in the lobby with tears in their eyes,
right,
and they talk about their loved one or something they went through, or how they had never seen it portrayed. That's exactly what they went through, and no one has ever told that story or what it felt like. And so that's why you do it.
Because the biggest compliment you can get.
Yeah, you can't get better than that. It's spectacular to be able to also remind yourself, oh, I'm not alone. I'm not crazy. They felt it too. Yay!
What was so beautiful about it too is that it didn't even feel like compliments at that point. When you're there after the show, it's really just about the genuine connection that you realize you have with so many people there who have just taken in the show, and then to share in that connection verbally, whatever it is, even if it's just silently with a hug, it's gonna get emotional. It's really powerful.
And now you're working with Mark David Levine and Gemini Theatrical Investors and Alex Stone, and that's how the show got to us. So I know we can't announce it yet tonight, but if you keep a watch on your socials, you have a new director you're going to announce soon.
We will be announcing soon.
That.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
We've no idea.
It's
We have
great.
no idea what you're talking about.
It's gonna. I mean, we wish we wanted to be able to announce it tonight, but you know, we don't get to make those calls.
It'll be worth the wait.
It's funny, yeah.
But the new director is beyond magical and fantastic, and when you get to work with a creative spirit who sees your show not only the way you see it, but better than you see it, and shows you things about your show that you didn't even know existed. And, you know, I mean, the three of us could get together and spark new ideas and new paths to go with the show forever and ever and ever. And that is just a gift that not everyone gets. So we are incredibly grateful to have that. And we cannot wait. There's a lot of hopefully big announcements we'll be making for the end of this year, start of next year, and God willing, next summer. So
everyone follow them on social.
Follow
And
them.
Matt, you have to drop the link for the t-shirt. People have been requesting it.
People have said yes
comments,
that you can.
Look, I've said for 15 years now since we started writing this show.
15. You were 15 years ago.
I'm 28 years old, and for 26 of those years, I've been saying we need to start selling these shirts.
His parents thought he was insane.
Maybe this
They're
is
like, "What the hell
finally
are you
the
talking
moment.
about?"
This is the moment.
His first words were "sell the t-shirts." Actually.
So what is the first song we are going to see tonight?
We are going to be presenting the first song. Is called "Up There." It is near the beginning of the show where Malia, our main character, is for the first time reading an excerpt from the story that she has started to write at the writing camp that she has been sent to over the summer. And the character, the main character of her story, is a little bird named Willow, who has fallen out of her nest and does not know how to get back to the sky because she thinks her wings are broken. And so as we start to see the beginning of Willow's quest through the words and eyes of Malia, we meet both of these characters singing the song Up There.
Right. So just, you know, before the song starts, Malia starts reading the story to her group about a bird at the base of a mountain. And she has this hint of a voice in the back of her head that if she can get to the top of the mountain, she can get to the sky, and the sky is where she belongs. But there's that brief moment before you start any journey where you question what you're about to do. And that's this moment that Malia shares with the group.
And who is performing this song tonight?
We've got Merritt Marsh as Malia and Stephanie J. Park as Willow. Two incredible, incredible people.
Who you can see in Tina and Hamilton when theater is back.
This is true.
So here is Up There.
This is it. Almost free. Made it to my starting line. I kinda miss my tree. All those days that I asked why, always looking towards the sky, and now those questions don't apply. They don't apply. I'm finally close to getting high. Up there are the answers I've longed for in my soul. Down here there's no place for me ever to feel whole. Up there is the reason why I breathe in this air. What I'd give to see what lives up there. Up there through that veil of clouds, closer to the sun, soaking in its wonders, I'll know my journey's done. Up there you can see the world, live without a care. I'll do what must be done to be up there. Oh, I can barely catch my breath. From here it looks so far, stretching into the unknown, just like
Aww.
That's
my
really
mother,
gorgeous.
my mother texted me that she's getting sideshow vibes and says it's a compliment, but didn't want to put it on the chat.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Taken as a compliment.
I mean, honestly, the one of the privileges of being a producer and being involved with New York Theater Barn is I get to listen to so much music from new musicals, and sometimes I'll just be, in my room with my headphones on and feel like, oh wow, I just discovered the next song that we're going to be hearing in auditions, and the next thing that somebody in their bedroom is going to be like, wow, this really touched me, and so much of what you both write, especially in this show, does that. So
yeah, as a fellow producer, it's one of the best feelings, and I think one of the coolest things about what we do.
Thank you guys so much. It's
Thank
so
you.
lovely.
Wow. That's so awesome.
These comments, clearly everyone else agrees.
Yay.
That's so sweet. Thank you. Well, this is just, it's really special because this is the first, at least for me, and I mean, I know for Eric, this is really the first time we've gotten to hear this again. And
since 2019.
Yes, it's very special. We're very grateful for this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys. And those girls, my God, they
amazing.
God.
Yes. Amazing.
And they're new to your development process, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've worked with Stephanie. Stephanie did a concert
Stephanie
of
has
ours.
played from the show before, so she's in it to win it, And you will also meet someone else who has been a part of the show. But this was Merritt's first time joining us, and it was really special to get to work with Merritt, who is only 14 years old and sings like that, and she's real cool.
What a voice.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
What you kind of set it up already. What is our second song tonight?
So the second song is one that you might not have ever heard of or anything like that. We haven't talked about it very much. But,
Okay.
The title of it is called "Fly More Than You Fall," and
I'm shocked.
This is also the title track of my album, "Fly More Than You Fall," which also happens to be the title song of our musical, "Fly More Than You Fall."
Oh,
and
boy.
it happens to be the next song that we're going to share. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. And we're really excited to share it because in the show, it's given the opportunity to be a duet, where it has always been more of a single, solo, ever since it was written. But in this context, Eric, do you want to set this one up a little bit?
Yeah, so Malia has just read that song you just heard. So she just shared that with a group of people. And their responses are kind of mainly because she's writing a YA novel about birds trying to fly, and all these other pretentious kids at the summer camp are writing or trying to write darker themed things. So they're not really super impressed with her. Malia, who's a bit of a perfectionist, loses her mind and is ready to go home. And it's just, no, if she can't be perfect at something, she doesn't want to do it at all. And she's about to pack her bags, go home, and give up. And that's when a new camper or another camper named Caleb sees a similar soul in her and pulls her aside and gives her a bit of a pep talk. And the song is the pep talk, kind of encouraging her to hang in there, give it a few more days, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Merritt Marsh again, and then it's Nico Oliveri, correct?
So Oliveri, yes, that's right.
So this is Fly More Than You Fall, the title song.
But they don't get to decide if my work is good. I decide if my work is good. Every day you have to decide. Are you going to let life kick you in the ass, or are you going to kick it in the ass? Just take it from my favorite philosopher, my mom.
Alarm goes off, open up my eyes, take a glance at the window at the sunrise, getting out of my bed, which I do despise, but despite my cries, I always realize I got so much to get done today, so I keep all the negative thoughts at bay, cause there ain't much color in black and gray, but you know what they say, if there's a will, there's a way, and I believe in hoping for the best, and I believe that negativity is a test of how you choose to go about your life. Will you stay in bed till you wake up dead, or will you let go of your strife? Oh, love each day you're given, live each day you've got. Don't let fear and madness bring you sadness, that's a lesson I've been taught. Just keep your head up, keep on walking tall, open up your mind and you might find that there's clouds in the sky and the storm seems near, let your sunshine appear.
And your skies will be clear.
Now I'm not saying that you can't cry. A release of emotion can simplify a natural need to express what makes us wanna die. But in the blink of an eye, it can be easy as pie. And I believe in wishing on a star.
And I believe that wish can get you far. If you believe in working towards your dreams, if you don't give in, you just wear a quit.
Not as hard as it seems. Oh, love each day you're given. Live each day you've got. Don't let fear and madness bring you sadness. That's a lesson I've been taught. Just keep your head up. Keep on walking tall. Open up your mind and you might find that you can fly more than you fall. Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful. Don't ever think it's not.
Life is beautiful.
Oh, life is wonderful. Life is beautiful. Don't ever lose this thought of each day you're given.
Live each day you got.
Don't let fear and madness bring you sadness.
That's a lesson I've been taught.
Just keep your head up. Keep on walking tall. Open up your mind and you might find that you can fly more than you fall. Whoa.
No, 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 no. You can fly more than you fall.
Whoa. You can fly more than you fall. Open up your mind and you might find that you can fly more than you fall.
That was awesome.
Now get some sleep. You've got some ass to kick tomorrow.
Yeah, I do.
You can fly more than you fall.
That was worth the wait, as everyone has been saying in the chat.
That's very sweet.
What a mantra. How important to hear those words, though, truly.
Especially after what we've all been through.
Yes.
You know, it's definitely a song to cling to after the worldwide trauma we've all just survived. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So before we go, you know, I feel like stories about mothers and daughters are very prominent in musical theater and they're not going anywhere. Why do you think they remain so powerful, and why did you feel it was a part of the makeup of this story? Because it's more than a mother and daughter story, but it is a big part of the story too.
Yes. Mothers and daughters, I mean, they're just universal. Parents and children are universal. You know, I think at the end of the day, parents are unconditional love. And sometimes it's the only unconditional love we ever experience in our life. And so to lose that at a young age, it's if you can't musicalize that, if you can't musicalize unconditional love, I don't know what you can musicalize, you know, I mean, so that just felt very right for turning it into a show about what it feels like to lose that. And also from the parent point of view, what it feels like to know you're going to have to leave them to fend for themselves, you know, and will they be up to the challenge, you know, and hoping for the best.
And there's something, you know, there's something too about, because in our show, there's the relationship between mom and daughter, and then of course losing mom and something like that. But then what remains from that is the relationship between father and daughter, which can be equally as complicated sometimes. And of course, every family is different, but there was something about the relationship of this particular mother and daughter that we found to be so endearing that we wanted to tell. Not to mention, we would much rather see some really strong roles for young women claiming their agency at a younger age. Than typically heroic male stories that you have found for decades and decades and decades. And that to us is something that is important to tell and share. And that's kind of bringing into it.
It's Amen. Because also grieving alone is one thing, but grieving as a group is complicated. Families trying to grieve together, lends itself to lots of good drama and story songs and crying from the audience. So everyone wins.
And
really.
laughter, because there's something that, what I think my favorite part of this show is, if I may, is that there are so many moments, heartbreak and joy are so close,
side by side
together, side by side as emotions. And when you can kind of find the branching path that goes in the middle of those, you'll find that sometimes through your heartbreak, the joy and the laughter through the tears can be incredibly healing and helpful in that process.
And I think we have to remember, I think I just was reading this last night, actually, parents are, when you're a child, they're your biggest advocate. They will always fight for you, and it's important. And that's why they're always in musicals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And in true Disney-esque fashion, no parent comes out alive at one or another.
Because it's a critical moment that is universal.
Exactly.
We all have our mentor at a certain point in our life, and we all lose our mentor at a certain point in our life. And that's the pinnacle moment. How are you going to survive without your mentor? And those are the fun moments to watch.
Right.
If they're going to fly or if they're going to fall.
Yep.
Well, we are so excited for what is next with your show. And as we said, check out their Instagram for lots of exciting announcements.
Get that t-shirt.
Right there. Get that t-shirt.
Reach out to Mark Levine for information. We got to get Mark making those t-shirts stat.
Yes.
I mean, if anyone can do it, it's Mark. So watch out.
Get out the screen printer and just go.
Really?
That director announcement,
Exactly
everything.
Right. I've been telling him for 30 years just to get this done. I really think now's the time.
There you,
it's been 84 years.
You heard it, Mark. So we will see you guys soon, and we are so excited about your show. Have a good night.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
Before we say goodnight, we did not put up the links for Emily's Words before, so if you want to look out more for Emily's Words, that is their Instagram, and that is the Combustion Collective, so you should check them out and check out all of our artists tonight. So wow, we're finally at that time of the night, and I don't have anything to tell you about what our next show will be, but that was our show for tonight. Wow, there's nothing in 2 weeks, but I can. Wow, that was more emotional than I thought it would be.
You're like, I don't know what to do.
What do I do? But I can tell you this, how excited we are to continue what we started back up in person. We can't wait to share what is next and to continue to serving artists this fall.
Yes, it takes an incredible amount of work to make tonight's show happen and all of our shows happen and all of our programming. And I'm going to go off script here for a minute and throw a little curveball. I have the privilege of working with the incredible staff of New York Theater Barn. I've known Joe and New York Theater Barn for years, and I was very, very excited to be invited to join the board. And through that, I've been able to discover the amazing work of people like Jen, who is so efficient and always responding to emails and always on top of everything. Avi, who has such great ideas and is such a hard worker and contributes so much to us. Joe, of course, who's been leading this organization for many, many, many years, very, very proudly and very, very boldly and always driving forward. And the creation of the New Work series is just, I know now it seems normal because we've been doing it for so long, but it was not normal when it first started. It was such a quick pivot, and it was so amazing to see just the whole team adapt. We have Hector, who does the videos, all the videos that you've seen. They've been getting just better and better and better. Pals is here in the chat, always supporting everyone, always helping us to find these shows. Julia, who does our graphics, and Julia is just like so creative and wonderful. I work with Julia all the time. And Victoria, who helps out with Choreography Lab, which you saw a clip of. I mean, it's really, like, you have no idea how much it is, and the artists who have.
Did we thank Kate?
Kate, I can't forget. Kate is in the chat as well. I mean, Kate, I don't want to say like I'm saving the best for last, but gosh, Kate has really changed our lives in the last few months since she joined us. So I'm very privileged to work with everyone. I think everyone in the board who is here tonight and not here tonight is really, really happy that we created this like amazing family who's able to do this. And I'm sad that this is my last one, but I'm sure you will be seeing Jen and Joe and everyone very soon in amazing new ways. So,
Truly, and I just want to say thank you to Blair. Thank you for the board for going on this journey. When we said, hey, I think we're going to take our new work series virtual. What do you think? And you guys said, oh, it's not going to cost us a lot of money. Let's try. And it's kind of, but it's pivoted to this thing of us paying artists now, of us really, I always say this every week, but I look at the numbers. I look at the almost 100 shows that we've been able to develop virtually during this time, the hundreds of writers, 600 plus artists. I say this all the time, and I truly mean, I will always be grateful. I will always be proud. It's my pandemic proudest moment for sure.
Of course. And I just think, to make this happen, to continue to lift up artists and these shows and these musicals with powerful messages and amazing teams, Nat, Eric, Jesse, Avi, everyone who's joined us, we need all of your help if you're here tonight. Even if you donate $1, I promise, as board president, to make sure that it goes to the artists and that it goes to our staff who are underpaid and overworked and so committed. So please, 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 if you can, give at our website, newyorktheaterbarn.org/give. And you can also donate quickly by text. That's 631-710-NYTB. Again, 631-710-6982. And you'll have those details again to follow in the video description. If you look down, you'll see the details to give. So
yes, again, that link is nytheaterbarn.org/give or 631-710-NYTB, 631-710-6982. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for tuning in for the last 15 months. Thank you for supporting live theater. We will see you soon in person.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Hi, my name is Ken Davenport. I'm a Broadway producer, and I'm also honored to be on the advisory board of the New York Theater Barn. And I'm going to be honest with you and say that if you had asked me what the New York Theater Barn was just a few months ago, I would have said, I have no idea. It was only during this pandemic, when so many other theaters and businesses were floundering, it was only through the Theater Barn's passionate and relentless marketing of their material and their mission that I became aware of the incredible work that they were doing. And I believe that it takes two things to be successful in this business. One, you need great content, great shows. But two, you need great marketing, backed by an unbelievable passion to get your message out and to grow your following. When they asked me to help, which by the way was also just great marketing and just asking me to assist them, I said absolutely yes. Anyone who is this invested in their core mission and in great shows, and they've got great ones, I know is bound for success, and that's an organization I want to lend my name to.